What a comeback. The White Sox win 4-2 in an 8th inning rally. Amazing. What an effort from the team and what a player Miguel Vargas has been for the White Sox. We'll talk about Vargas and your Sox next here on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. Game show presented to you by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. My producer today is Sean Anderson. Hello. Hello. Sox win 4-2. That's what you care about. Sox take 2 of 3 in Toronto. They get their 8th and 9th win on the road this year. Not exactly, again, where you want the Chicago White Sox. They sit now 25-53, but again, in context of what has happened maybe in the past 2 years, we'll take it. It's not 121 losses, and it's not as bad as the Rockies. So, hey, let's go. On today's show, we'll be talking about the 2 wins in Toronto. We'll be talking about Luis Robert Jr.'s bounce back. We'll talk about Miguel Vargas being a star. We'll talk about Noah Schultz's first start in AAA. And then we'll talk about some trade opportunities, or at least ranking the trade pieces that the White Sox have to offer, right? Like if you had to power rank the pieces, where would I put them? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get into Friday's game. Sox win 7-1, and the biggest things that happened, Andrew Benintendi, second at-bat of the day, an absolute bomb and an absolute meatball from Spencer Turnbull. Middle, and it's an 89-mile-per-hour fastball. Benintendi turned and burned on that one. That's the expression I'm looking for. 425 feet out to right field. And then later in the game, Luis Robert Jr. in the top of the third, a 441-foot bomb, making it 5-0 for the Chicago White Sox. A very good game. They win 7-1. And Grant Taylor was the opener in that game. We'll talk about Grant Taylor's entire weekend because he starts the series for the Chicago White Sox and then closes the series for the White Sox with a win. Tyler Alexander pitched the bulk of that game. 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, no walks, and 2 strikeouts. Tyler Alexander has been very good so far for the White Sox ever since that fateful 90-minute Uber ride since Milwaukee. Another big thing in this game, Wikelman Gonzalez makes his major league debut. He goes 2 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 2 Ks. There was a very nasty sweeper, I think 2 nasty sweepers that he threw to Alejandro Kirk, and he made him look fairly stupid. This is the 3rd of 4 pieces from the Garrett Crochet trade that have already made their major league debut, Teal and Mydroth being the 2 before Wikelman. Wikelman's supposed to be the 4th less productive or 4th less important of the pieces, and if he's a guy that can give you length, potentially because of the pretty terrible state the White Sox rotation is, with Davis Martin and Jonathan Cannon both being on the IL. Thankfully, Hauser returned from the paternity list. Maybe we see Wikelman get some starts for the Chicago White Sox. They're definitely going to put him in when it's either 7-0 or whatever. Well, yeah, it was 5-0, I think, or 6-0 at that point. 6-0, or if they're down, 7-1, that's Wikelman time. But I'm excited to see him. There's definitely some stuff there. What he will be at the end, as long as it's a bullpen piece, I think you'd take it for that trade. If he's a starter, if he gives you like 30 starts, that's a pretty good return for just a 4th piece. In his career with the White Sox, if he goes out, starts 15 games this year, 15 games the year after that, or 15 games next year, 15 games after that. He's able to give you some innings. Not a bad piece there. Wickelman making his major league debut. Congrats to him. On Saturday, Sox lose 7-1. Not many, if any, real highlights from your Chicago White Sox. They do score in the top of the sixth, but it's on a fielder's choice. It's preceded by a Miguel Vargas triple. So we'll at least talk about Miguel Vargas and him being a star in just a second. But the main thing is Aaron Savale getting fairly torched by the Toronto Blue Jays. 7 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 Ks, 2 home runs allowed to Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette. But 7-1, you're going to lose the game anyways, and you only use 2 pitchers. Savale throws 96 pitches, goes 7 innings for you. If you're going to be crap, at least give them, innings to eat, and Aaron Savale did that. So if there is a bright side from the game on Saturday, Savale 8 innings, Jake Palish, and I hope I'm saying that name correctly, just made his major league debut from Double-A, the lefty. Palish did make an appearance, 1 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, no strikeouts, 24 pitches for the rookie. And then today, the Miguel Vargas game, because we definitely don't use that enough. Miguel Vargas comes in clutch in the 8th inning. The Sox score 3 runs in the 8th. They were down 2-1 going into that 8th inning, and you are able to get a huge inning for the Sox. It started off with a Slater walk, who pinch hit for Ryan Noda. Then Lenyn Sosa struck out. Caro pinch hits for Rojas. Caro strikes out. So the Sox have 2 outs with a runner on first. Michael A. Taylor singled to left. Slater went to second. Jeff Hoffman comes in for Little. Mydroth walked, making the bases loaded. Then Slater scores on a fielding error by Hoffman. Sox get fairly bailed out there, and with the bases still loaded, Slater does score, making it a 2-2 game. Miguel Vargas pokes one down the left field line, a double that makes it 4-2. Great game for Miguel Vargas. Pretty great series for Miguel Vargas. Just great everything for Miguel Vargas. Hauser was the starting pitcher. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 7 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. Let's quickly get into Miguel Vargas because he's been absolutely fantastic. We'll talk about Grant Taylor in just a second. His last 50 games, Miguel Vargas, 1.6 F4, 142 weighted runs created plus, 14 doubles, 2 triples, 9 home runs, 25 RBIs, and 30 runs scored. He does it all. He's playing a fairly average third base, and he's playing an above average first base. So it does seem like no matter the defensive position, he's got a real future here with the White Sox. They don't have anyone that's really pushing him out. He is their best option right now at first base. He's probably their best option at third base. I know that a lot of people have been like, oh, slow it down on Colson Montgomery. It seems like Colson likely will end up sliding over to third base, but that's mainly because he won't be a shortstop. But if I had to rank them right now, even if Colson is fixed after this swing mechanic thing that they've done with Ryan Fuller, I think I'm more interested in Miguel Vargas at third base. Maybe that will end up changing, but I think it's a very interesting thing that is starting to develop. We really kind of gave, or at least I did, I gave up on Miguel Vargas after the first couple of games this year and after what we saw post-acquisition at the trade deadline last year. But since they've made that swing change, he has been absolutely a different player. I got some stuff here from StatCast showing you by zone his expected weighted on base average pre-change. Everything is blue. Middle, 279 expected weighted on base average. And then the low zones, 289, 313, 290. Those should be above 300. If you are a good major league player, those should be 300. And his 4 of his 9 best zones are pretty below average. One of them's above 300, and that's middle low. And then you go to the post change, and he is absolutely tearing everything up. That middle low, even though they've changed the stance to be attacking high fastballs, that middle low still his best zone, 488 expected weighted on base average. The top middle, 325, up and in 378, middle 341, middle in 320, middle low or in and low, 301. And he's been great at laying off pitches outside of the zone. He has a little bit of a weakness on the outer edges, but what major league hitter doesn't? If it's middle in, this guy is crushing it. And we've been able to see that this year. Vargas is very, very interesting. And I would say probably outside of Braden Montgomery, Caleb Bonham. Vargas might be the most interesting. Let me know what you think. We got to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. Whatever the moment, whatever the sport, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365 who are now live in Illinois. Download their app. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Bet $5, get $150 in bonus bet, whether your bet wins or loses. Use code CHGO365 over at sign up. Likely this summer, you're betting Major League Baseball. If a team that you take on the money line, or even in a parlay selection on the money line, takes a 5-run lead, your bet automatically cashes out, or that selection automatically cashes out for you. Very exciting stuff for Bet365 in a very exciting way to enjoy every moment with our friends over at Bet365. Again, sign up. New customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Use code CHGO365. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only. You know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill while you're planning your barbecues, beach plans, and 3-day weekends. The last thing that should be holding you back is your wireless bill. That's why we here at CHGO made the switch to Mint Mobile. You can get the coverage and speed you're used to, but for way less money. And for a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network, and you can use your own phone, and you don't have to lose any of your contacts when you make the switch over to Mint. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/White Sox. That's mintmobile.com/White Sox. Upfront of $45 required. Equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabits on unlimited plans. Tax and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox post-game show. Let's go back to Friday because there's 2 players that I want to talk about. First of all, it's Luis Robert Jr., the fairly large elephant in the room. Since he had that little siesta of taking 2 days off, trying to figure things out, I think it ended up being 3 days because he brick mud himself in batting practice, hit a ball off the roof, and then it hit him in the head. So then he had to wait to make his reappearance in Houston. Since that return, not including today, 11 games, 40 plate appearances, 36 at-bats, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts, 250 average, 308 on base, 472 slugging percentage, 2 homers, 2 doubles, so 4 of the 9 hits are extra base hits. It seems like it's been better. I think with his ability to steal bases, he's only had 1 since the swing adjustment. He hasn't walked a ton to get on base. He's not leading Major League Baseball in steals anymore. Was for a little bit there. Is only one of, I think, like 6 or 9 players to be over 20 steals. So he's in a pretty good class there, and the defense is good, but you're still just waiting for Luis Robert Jr. to pop. And there was a story this Friday from Ken Rosenthal and I believe Will Salmon of The Athletic, and they mentioned that the White Sox, for both Luis Robert Jr. and Andrew Benintendi, that they would be willing to take on money for that deal. First of all, let's go to Benintendi because this is just funny. Benintendi, 31, this is written by Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon over at The Athletic. Benintendi, 31, might be all but impossible to move. He is owed the balance of his $16.5 million salary this season, $16.5 million next season, and $14.5 million in 2027. No longer a quality defender, he derives almost all of his value from his left-handed bat, which is right around league average. I don't think even with Benny's bomb on Friday and then his grand slam on Thursday is going to be digestible for a team. Your biggest hope for Andrew Benintendi not being on this team is them being able to trade Luis Robert Jr. this season, them not having to worry about that potential $20 million player option for Robert, and will they not accept it? Will they then extend a qualifying offer to him? It's convoluted. Their biggest hope, trade Luis Robert Jr. without cash, even if they do take on cash, If they get that off of their books, they don't have to deal with that in 2026. Will cash infusions include buying out Andrew Benintendi and is around $30 million left, 16 and a half and 14 and a half. So what, $31 million left? I mean, will that be Justin Ishbia's first gift to Chicago White Sox fans? Because what is that 32-year-old doing? He's just going to be a left-handed DH bat. He's okay versus left-handers, but not really. He's fine against right-handers. And the interesting thing is, like, he's pulling a lot of fly balls. I think it's like fourth in Major League Baseball, but the guys that he's with just hit the ball a ton harder. Like, he's not a power hitter. He's a tiny, small little guy. So Benintendi, that's a real tricky situation because I think they could offer to eat all of the cash, and I don't think a team would take him on. I think they would rather just have the White Sox buy him out and then sign him after. Maybe he's an interesting pickup after, but he is not interesting at that 16 and a half for the next 2 years and then the 14 and a half in 2027. Robert, on the other hand, though, you have two player options after this year. And Robert, if the White Sox are going to eat that money, he could be stomachable. We'll talk about trade targets after our second break. I do want to talk a little bit about Grant Taylor, though. Grant Taylor on Friday opened the game for the Chicago White Sox. 1 inning for Grant, 1 strikeout, 13 pitches, nothing too crazy. And then today, he was fantastic coming out of the pen. 1 innings pitched, 1 hit allowed, no walks, 1 strikeout. And the thing, too, is the guy just throws strikes. It's so fun to see. Like today, 12 pitches, 8 strikes. He's just an absolute demon. You look at the top 5 hardest pitches from StatCast. @NotC shared this. The top 5 pitches in Major League Baseball today all come from Grant Taylor. 100.2, 100.4, 100.5, 101.8, and 102.2. Absolutely electric stuff from Grant Taylor. Absolutely exciting stuff from this high leverage arm. I think that you finally have an arm. Probably you haven't had this type of arm since like Liam Hendricks. That I think hitters are kind of like, oh, well, what do I do? And Hendricks, you still had the opportunity. If his fastball velocity was down, you could maybe hit a home run off a fastball at the top of the zone. Like, your best luck against Grant Taylor is shortening up and getting a single. Like, he is fairly disgustingly dominant. We've used the term demon before. Today, 3 whiffs on 7 swings, 1 called strike, 33% called strike plus whiff percentage. There was 2 balls put in play, and it's a 77.5 average exit, 77.5 mile per hour average exit velocity. He is dominant. The four seam fastball is great. The cutter's great. The curveball's really disgusting. The 2 things that you need to see from Grant Taylor are the ability to go longer. He had a 30-pitch outing, then he had a 6-pitch outing, a 12-pitch outing today. Maybe you'd like to see him go 2 innings. Like, I'd just like to see if he has that ability. Again, it's about building this guy up to a starter is the inevitable goal. But like, the one thing that I do want to see is like less reliance on his fastball. The fact that he's still able to get 3 whiffs on 7 swings on all those fastballs is great. But that curveball and those sliders, like, those are true money pitches. And if he gets comfortable with those, I think that's what you're going to see unlock for Grant Taylor, because the one thing that just jumps out is 1 walk in all of these, 6 outings? 6 outings, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. That'll play, kid. And nothing wrong with that. No home runs allowed. He did give up 2 earned runs back on the 14th, but you're really not upset with anything that Grant Taylor has done so far. Again, in a really intriguing arm for the Chicago White Sox. Let's take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. I know it says, should you worry about Noah Schultz? I'll tell you about that next here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. Overpaying for property taxes is something far too many Cook County residents are doing. How do I know that? I've lived in Cook County my entire life. That means for 27 years, I've listened to my mother complain about her property taxes. It's tough, and it happens to everyone. Let Ownwell's experts ensure you're prepared for when it counts, because Cook County appeal windows vary by township. They close up rapidly and are very difficult to win. You can sign up in under 3 minutes and let their team of local experts and cutting-edge technology help you start saving money with no upfront costs. In Cook County, Ownwell has a 25% contingent fee, meaning you only pay if your property taxes are reduced, and you can put property taxes back in your pocket in just minutes with no stress or big time investments. 86% of Ownwell customers receive a reduction, and Ownwell handles everything from start to finish and delivers top results with an average saving of $1,102. They're extremely specific there over at Ownwell. That's why they're able to get you that $2 more. Save money on your Cook County property taxes with Ownwell. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your appeal today at ownwell.com. That's OWNWELL.com. I know you're a smart person because you're a White Sox fan. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier for you smart White Sox fans. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. So for those 6:40 games, you could roll up on the CTA or Metro at 6:38 and get the best deal. And with code CHGO, you could save $20 off your first purchase. They have killer last minute deals, views from your seats, and their lowest price guarantee. They also have all-in pricing, so you won't be surprised at checkout with any fees. The last-minute deals are what you need to check out at Game Time as a White Sox fan. Save up to 60% buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. And the Game Time guarantee means that Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same row and section for less. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox post-game show presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Noah Schultz on the 19th made his first start in Charlotte. He went 5 1/3 innings pitched. He allowed 8 hits, 1 home run, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks on 86 pitches. So let's just let that simmer. There's the question there. Should you worry about Noah Schultz? There's a lot of really intelligent baseball minds on the internet that said, that's a bad stat line. Sure. First of all, I don't care what a 21-year-old is doing in AAA when it comes to the stat line. Noah Schultz can have an ERA of 11. I really do not care. It's about him throwing pitches, period. The whole entire goal for this year was to get him over 100 innings thrown. Seems like that's still very reachable. So that's what I want to see from the 21-year-old. What you really need to think about is the context of all of this. Yeah, 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. Not great. Congratulations. Go apply to NASA. You're one of the most brilliant minds that we have in our nation. When you look under the hood, though, this is a player that doesn't have a ton of experience on his arm. 7 21-year-olds have pitched at AAA. Noah is the 7th. And this is his 3rd time in his career pitching into the 6th inning. Didn't finish the 6th inning, pitched against one batter, got him out, then pitched another batter, allowed a single, then they yanked him. I felt like they could even let him pitch. I think he probably could have got out of the 6th inning. They wanted to end it there for Noah. But when you look under the hood, 16 whiffs on 43 swings, 16 called strikes. That's a 37 called strike plus whiff percentage. A major league average is 30. I think the highest this year that we've seen in a start is a 34% called strike plus whiff percentage from Davis Martin. What that shows you is, hey, Noah Schultz threw a ton of strikes. 1 walk, 37% called strike plus whiff percentage. That's a ton of strikes right there. And he allowed 17 balls in play, which, again, is a lot. An average exit velocity of 89.3 miles per hour, though. And when you look at the stuff plus, when you look at the 6'10", 240, 21-year-old, you see a ton of sinkers, curveballs in this start. This is from @TJ Stats. First of all, people are wondering why they're not using his best pitches, why they're using sinker and curveball. First of all, AAA and their StatCast misdiagnosed the curveball. It's not a curveball. That's a slider. So when you see curveball for Noah Schultz, just say that's a slider. The slider got a grade of 54 on the 20 to 80 grid scale, according to TJ Stuff Plus Stats 102. The sinker is the main fastball, though, for Noah. I believe Brian Bannister talked about why they abandoned the cutter. It was because it was making him like over-exaggerate his mechanics, and that would lead to lack of control. That would lead to the mechanics falling out. That would lead to a ton of walks for Noah and a lack of, true important pitches there. The sinker, though, a ton in zone, over 50% in zone. That was the worst of his pitches, which is a pretty good sign to see, throwing 39 pitches. But then you also get a 35.7% whiff rate on a sinker. Like, that's pretty rare. It's pretty absurd to be getting that much of a whiff rate on a sinker, throwing it 39 times. The curveball had a whiff rate of 33.3%, a chase rate of 53.3%. That's like the two biggest pitches for him. Like, if he can have a fastball that is workable, because the cutter isn't really workable for him right now. The four-seam fastball doesn't seem to have a ton of life coming out of his fingers. The spin rate isn't listed here. The spin rate is listed here. It's under 2,500, which is not great for a four-seam fastball. The biggest thing is that he just doesn't rip it. This curveball and slider, he does rip more. He doesn't have a true ability to create backspin on his four-seam fastball. So that's why you're not seeing a four-seam fastball. You're not going to see, when he wants to go for a whiff up in the zone, he'll go for his four-seam fastball, but he only went to that 8 times. The sinker is the main fastball that you'll see from Noah Schultz. So should you worry? No, because this is the most amount of whiffs that he's gotten in a start this year, whether at AA or AAA. This is his third time pitching in the 6th inning, and that's what's most important, is the guy that's the same size as Anthony Davis, Jaron Jackson Jr., Nikola Vucevic. It's going to take time for him to mature, and maybe he's on the 2026 opening day rotation. But it might be a little bit of a battle for Noah to get up here, because the body and the angle that you're coming at is extremely unique for Noah, but only 10 pitchers in Major League Baseball above 6'9" have thrown 100 innings. It's a rare feat to be this talented and this tall and this coordinated. And Noah's trying to walk that very thin tightrope. And when you're getting 16 whiffs on 43 swings, I don't think you should be worried. You shouldn't be worried about Noah Schultz, because he's going to be pitching for the White Sox, I think, for at least 6 years. Hopefully they don't trade him. All right, let's get into trade pieces. There are trade pieces coming up here at the Major League deadline for the White Sox. I think you're wondering who's going to get dealt, who has the most value. I'm here to say that I think most of the value has been squeezed out of this lemon. We do have 6/5 players that are the top pieces at the deadline for the White Sox to deal. Number one, Luis Robert Jr. with money eaten. If the Ken Rosenthal piece, Will Salmon piece is correct, the White Sox are going to eat money. I think that what they should do, smartest thing for the organization, is eat all that money. You thought you were going to pay $75 million or so this year. You're able to eat all of that money for Robert. You knew you were going to pay him. You eat that money. Maybe you're able to create a bidding war for this player, and maybe that's how we see the prices go up. I think that's the smartest move for Chris Getz, is go and beg and plead for Jerry Reinsdorf's money to eat what is remaining of Luis Robert Jr.'s 2025 salary, so that you kind of have a bidding war. You have piranhas chomping at the bit, or champing at the bit. 2, Mike Tauchman. If we're not eating money from Luis Robert Jr., why wouldn't I take the left-hander that plays pretty solid right field defense, doesn't play center field defense, but I know every single time that he goes up there, he's going to give me a great at-bat. Tauchman is, I think, very underrated. He's currently 3rd in DH All-Star voting. Maybe that is your representative for your Chicago White Sox, is Mike Tauchman. But I think Tauchman is going to be somebody that draws a decent amount of interest just because he is so solid as a veteran. Having that type of left-handed bat that has gone through so much in his major league career, Colorado, New York, Chicago, Korea, Chicago. I would love to have Mike Tauchman on my team. And I'm happy to have Mike Tauchman on his team. So 2, Mike Tauchman. 2A, Luis Robert Jr. with no money eaten. I think it's going to be tough to talk teams into it. And I think that if you were able to talk a team into it, I think there would have been a deal done at this point. There's no real talking a team into a guy that has a sub-200 average, has had a sub-200 average since June 4th of last year. He's not that interesting. He's more interesting when you're, biting the bullet. on this. If you're going to give a team pretty much a free trial of Luis Robert Jr. in 2025 and give them the option in the offseason whether they want to pay him $20 million in 2026 or even then after that in 2027 for $20 million, let them. But I don't think they're going to do that for $7.5 million just to get to the offseason. I think if you're able to take a bit of that sting away, I think we're going to see a bigger return for Luis Robert. 3, I have Aaron Savale. I think he's more interesting than Adrian Hauser. Hauser, it's a lot about, he's made body changes, but I think that the wheels are going to fall off of that wagon. Savale is a little bit more experienced, trusted. He does make $8 million compared to Hauser's, I think, like $1.2 million. So maybe that is going to be a swing factor. Maybe that puts Hauser above Savale. But two guys that can eat innings, and a lot of Major League Baseball teams just need to eat innings to get to the point where you're in October. And then when you're in October, you can find out who the best 4 starting pitchers are, and then you can find out who the best, what would that be? 4, 9 arms in your pen, right? So I think Savale and Hauser could be 3A, 3B, but I'll put Savale. I think Savale's more interesting than Hauser. I'll put Savale above Hauser at 4, and then 5, Mike Vassell, the Rule 5 pick. I think that a team would have to talk themselves into stashing him, but also he's making the league minimum. And then you can also say, well, hey, we get Mike Vassell after the year if we keep him on the team for the entire year. I don't think the White Sox need to keep Vassell. He's performed his outlying metrics. I don't think Mike Vassell is going to keep this up. I don't think he's that interesting. I think if you got somebody knocking on your door that's willing to take Vassell for the rest of the year and on their Major League roster, I'd entertain it, especially for a bat. If you're able to flip Vassell for a bat, maybe is he worth enough as Tanner Banks? I don't know. But maybe if you got a William Bergoya, I wouldn't be too mad for a guy Mike Vassell. That's going to wrap it up for the CHGO White Sox postgame show, presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Please hit that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us. This was a huge week for us at CHGO at Spirit Week as we raised over $10,000 as an all-city network for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. If you want to become a big, you can go sign up at bbbsa.org/big or /AllCity. I think AllCity is the one that I'm supposed to tell you for. But anyways, that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. I will be back on Monday for a true post-game show with a real producer. I will see you then. Goodbye. Love ya. Mwah.
All city like the mayor.